everybody. Oh my god, you're welcome to Sessions with Ella. You're welcome to today's episode. Thank you for sticking with me and thank you for joining me today. And all 1,300 subscribers of you, oh my god, you guys, you blew my mind on my last video. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you for subscribing, and everyone who's just joining us, I hope you will take a moment to really just subscribe, because you are definitely going to be getting tremendous value from this channel in terms of your travel to Canada, in terms of your settling in Canada, in terms of lifestyle vlogs popping up every now and then, relationship tips and talks every now and then. You guys, don't sleep on this, okay? I'm going to be talking to you about how we secured an apartment here in Canada before we landed without any help, as it were. Really, it was just God's help we had. There was no human interface. Okay. Then beyond how we got our apartment as well, I'll be sharing with you how I know that a few other persons were able to get an apartment before they landed. There are 4 ways that I know that you can secure an apartment. You can visit the Kijiji site. I'm going to link all of these websites below. You can check Kijiji, you can check rentfaster.ca, you can check Facebook Marketplace, and then you can work with referrals. Yeah, so I'm going to be touching on all 4 of them. But what worked for us was Facebook Marketplace. Now, the thing about Facebook Marketplace is that not everyone has access to Facebook Marketplace. I'm not sure why, but I think it's designed for maybe it's not designed for Africa. That's what I think. So we didn't have access to Facebook Marketplace at some point, but what my husband did was to change his Facebook location to Calgary, Alberta. And as soon as he did that, it took a few days, really. It took a few days, and then he was able to find Facebook Marketplace on his phone. I didn't change my location anyways, so I don't know if I had changed my location, I would have found it. At some point I tried, but maybe I wasn't patient enough to also see my phone get updated. First recommendation would be try to see if you can access Facebook Marketplace on your phone. Yeah, like the Facebook app. Yeah, and this is not a group, it's just part of the app. Yeah, and if you see that you do not have access to Facebook Marketplace, my next recommendation would be change your location to Canada, for example, and don't expect it to update immediately. Change your location, give it like 2 days, then log out and log in again, allow your phone boot and update, and then see if after 1 week, you now have access to. If you see that you still do not have access to, I strongly recommend that you ask a few friends to do the same for you, and if any of them eventually have access, then you can work with them. But I can guarantee you that you need Facebook Marketplace as well, okay, alongside Kijiji, alongside Rentfaster, and then alongside referrals. Yeah, so yeah, when I say referrals, and that will be my second recommendation. I'm sure you'll be like, who's going to refer me when I don't really know anybody in Canada anyways? I'd like to believe that you are part of the Nigerian WhatsApp groups. There are different WhatsApp groups for people who are planning to travel to Canada. There is another one for those who have landed already. If you don't belong to any of these WhatsApp groups, please let me know also, so that by the way, I'm also going to put the link to some of these WhatsApp groups in the description below so that you can join. Now, in those groups, every now and then, a few times, not all the time anyways, you have people posting available apartments. Some of them it's their apartments and they're probably renting out the basement or something, so you have access to that, and then you can reach out to the person who posted, and then they can help you, right, to try to get that apartment. So recall that after my husband had access to Facebook Marketplace, we started. Guys, I'm not joking, from the month of April through the month of June, if we did not check apartments on Facebook Marketplace, we probably checked over 200 apartments. Sometimes we are up, like I'm up all night. I think I'm the one who has that staying power, because recall that I told you in my last video that I don't like stress. So whatever it took to just get this apartment issue out of the way. I think I was more devoted to doing that, right? So sometimes I just take my husband's phone, I'm busy looking at Facebook Marketplace, sending messages. I'm telling you, if we didn't check within 2 months, over 200 apartments, different kinds of apartments, right? And imagine that of the volume of apartments that we tried to gain access to, people we tried to reach out to, only 2 persons stood out for us that I would say gave us favorable responses. Again, because you've not landed. Some of the challenges that people face with the whole apartment thing is that there are requirements that you obviously cannot meet because you have not landed. You're being asked your job history. You don't even have a job yet in Canada. You are being asked your credit history. You don't even have a credit card. Like, you have 0 credit history right now. There's nothing working for you. You are being asked things like your former lease agreement or something. It's just unprecedented. You know that there is no way you'll be able to meet up any of these demands. That is the major challenge. So yeah, and then when a lot of people, while I try to reach out to a lot of people, some persons will just tell you, oh, you are new, oh sorry, I can't give my apartment to somebody new, I have to see you. It was only 2 agents that worked for, property companies that actually listened in and even gave us the opportunity. That is Simona and Sikwili, right? They knew we were, because I'd like to state ahead that we're permanent residents, we've not landed yet, we plan on landing soon, so that let us just make the whole work easy, right? And then only 2 of them actually gave us leads, and 1 of them clicked. I remember after Sikwili was the first person, there was this house in downtown we wanted to get with her, and they were applying. When we did eventually get that house, my husband just said, see babe, let's just do our Airbnb. When I told him, I said, if it took 100 applications to get 1 person, then do another 100, we'll get the second person. So we'll stay up all night sometimes, we'll stay up till like 3 a.m. sometimes, stay up till 4 a.m. sometimes, because I'm trying to get apartments. Eventually and thankfully, right, we found Simona as well. We saw the apartment, beautiful place, not entirely, it's not brand new, obviously, it's not newly built, but it's been renovated. And we're like, oh Simona, hope being permanent residents and the fact that we've not landed, hope it's not going to limit our chances. She's like, oh, don't worry, it's okay. I've been an immigrant before, I know how it feels, I'll put in my best word. And then we're like, oh, we can pay for the next 3 months if you want us to. But guess what? We're paying month on month on a 6-month lease agreement. And we found that on Facebook Marketplace. So yeah, if you have access to Facebook Marketplace, here is me encouraging you. Even if you have to do 500 applications to get 1 response, please go ahead. Go ahead and, put in that work. I'm sure that you will eventually find someone, okay? We also tried Kijiji, we tried Rent Faster. Unfortunately for us, Kijiji and Rent Faster contractors and agents, I would think that they are a bit more stricter, right? I think they're a bit more stricter in terms of getting all of those requirements. Besides, you will see like really beautiful houses off of Kijiji and Rent Faster, so maybe that's why, because some of the houses are newly built and all of that. So yeah, that's why I'm highly recommending Facebook Marketplace. But that doesn't also mean that you cannot find on Kijiji and Rent Faster as well. So yeah, it all really just depends on you. I know another question that probably is on your mind is like, so how did you get to view the house before we came? We did virtual viewing with Simona. We requested virtual viewing, and so we called, WhatsApp video call that night. I think that particular viewing was done by 1 a.m. because there's like 7 hours between Canada and Nigeria. So yeah, and guess what? We got this house for July, but the fact that we're not in Canada for the first 5 days of July, the rent was still prorated for us. And we also got a house under $1,000. So our rent currently is like $900 and something with the utilities, there's hydro, there's water, and there's heat, right? So we get to pay for electricity, we pay for the other utilities. Another question you probably would be having is like, okay, so what should guide my choice of the kind of house? There are different houses here. There are condos here. Condos are, the skyscrapers, the really high-rise buildings, if that's what you want. And anybody should want that anyway. Those are in the heart of downtown. You can get a condo if you want, or look out for a condo. That can limit your search while you're searching on Facebook Marketplace. Now, there are apartment buildings, which is what we got. It's really just an apartment, and then there are basements, and then you can have townhouses. It really does depend on you. You can have a 1-bedroom depending on the size of your family. You can have a studio apartment. You can have shared apartment, where a group of persons are living and sharing the rent. So it really all just depends on you and your choice, and of course maybe the availability at that point in time. Okay. So that is that about the choice of house. So this knowledge can help you limit your search, but I would recommend that you search across board, just so that you can at least find something. Hopefully you are able to get a month-on-month payment, which means that you can move in and then after a while you can leave. So another important subject regarding this house thing would be your budget. Well, averagely you should get a 1-bedroom apartment for say between 950 CAD to say 1,200 CAD, and then averagely you should also be able to get a 2-bedroom from say 1,400 to 2,000 CAD, depending on the kind of apartment you are getting. The very thing to consider: which of the quadrants do you intend to live in? So Calgary is such that, by the way, I'm speaking to Calgary now. This particular information, I'm speaking to Calgary. Calgary is divided into the southwest quadrant, the northeast quadrant, the northwest quadrant, and the southeast quadrant. Now, there are a lot of videos on YouTube that gives you information about the different quadrants. I recall that I started off, when we were searching at that time, I remember saying, but let's stay in southwest. And I watched a lot of videos where people will tell you that there are a lot of Nigerians concentrated in the northwest, and so if you want to get a house, better to go to the northwest. I don't think that's a consideration. Haven't spent 2 weeks here already, and the level of stress we would have been subjecting ourselves to if we weren't staying not just in southwest but also close to the train station. So if you want to get a place, be it northwest, be it northeast, be it southeast, and be it southwest, I don't think that a principal consideration should be what is the concentration of your local indigenes that are there, because again, you stay in an apartment and you might not even see your neighbor for a whole year, so I don't think that really matters. What I think you should be looking at would be ease of commute. Guys, transport in Calgary, it's not exactly efficient here. So you need to make sure that if you're going to be landing, you are either buying a car immediately. If you're not buying a car immediately, and you won't be buying a car for 6 months, then make sure that you are living close to the C train station. For example, when we got an apartment, luckily for us, the C train station is just a stone throw behind our house. So for the past 2 weeks, we've had access to free commute, because we kind of live around the free commute zone as well. It's been so seamless, right? So consider commute, very important. That's why I like Facebook Marketplace, because it also gives you details about that apartment, about how close it is to the C-train station, the bike score. So if you have a bicycle, how easy is it for you to commute your bicycle around there? If it tells you walk score, so if you want to take a walk, there are some places where the walk score is 98%, which means that you have easy access to almost everything you want to buy. Shouldn't you be considering such a place if you will not be getting a car immediately, even if you have kids? So again, remember that this is just for you to settle in for say the first 6 months, because when you are now within Canada or within Calgary, it's easier for you to change an apartment if you want to. Okay, so for me, a strong consideration would be commute, and I really would like you to ask those relevant questions. How close is this apartment to a bus station? How close is this apartment to a C-train station? Else, Uber is not easy here. I have friends who mentioned, babe, right, within 2 weeks, some of our friends tell us how within 2 weeks they had spent 500 Canadian dollars on Uber alone. Another friend of mine mentioned how they had spent almost 1,000 within like 3 weeks or so, and they had to just go buy a car because Uber is not smiling. It's not that cheap here. So why spend all of that money because you're trying to? So imagine if you don't land and you're in an Airbnb, how much it will cost you to go and start looking for an apartment. The cost of commute. If the Airbnb is also not close to the C-train station and all of that, it could add to your stress. It will deplete your funds very fast, and then it will put you under a lot of pressure, especially if you don't get a job immediately. By the time you come in and you have decided which of the quadrants you'd like to leave, you can always move. But for the purpose of at least having a seamless settling in the first few weeks, in the first few months, then you might want to open up your consideration bandwidth so that you increase your chances of eventually getting a place. So yeah, I did mention that I could support a few persons. So what I really meant was, if you have watched this video and you have exhausted all the means I talked about here, or you have spoken with a couple of persons and then maybe they are insisting on physical viewing, or you eventually did your virtual viewing and then you need to pay and all of that, or you eventually tried all means and you still couldn't get an apartment. So I'm saying that Simona, for example, Sikwili, for example, and then, for example, like the agent who also got my husband's friend, his house, I could just at least work with these 3 agents and personally say, oh, I have somebody who would like to get a house. Do you have an apartment ready? They are new immigrants like us, but they have their money ready. Would you please consider? But of course, I have no control over whether you have to pay 3 months first, because it all depends on the house, it depends on the landlord, it depends on the agents, it really depends on it all. It's just that our experience has been so seamless, and I'd just like to give the credit to God. So I also want to encourage you to pray, because some of these things really, you'll see that it's just God making you just find favor and just helping you to stumble on the right information and the right people, and you are able to get things done easily. Think about all this, and please let me know if this video was helpful. Let me know if you have further questions. Again, if there's something I didn't touch on, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to leave out anything in this video. If there's anything, drop your questions, drop your comments. I'll read through, I'll respond, and I'll see what I can do. Okay, and I'm really wishing you guys the very best. I think right after I drop this video, I'll just show you guys my empty house tour, how the house we got, the empty apartment tour, and then much later I'll do an updated house tour for everybody. Of course, you already see some of the updates, because this very room, you'll see that it has already changed anyway. So yeah, and then a lot of more videos coming up. The next sit down video I'm going to be having, I'll be talking about the permanent residency process in details, and then I would also talk about other pathways that I have come to see, right, for which you can leverage and get into Canada as soon as possible. So I'd like for you to also anticipate that, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next what's the correct thing? In the next episode. So I'll see you guys in the next episode of Sessions with Ella. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here today. Bye.